Welcome to the deep dive. Ready to explore something incredible?
Always.
Today we're diving into ant mutualism, those win-win relationships between ants and other species.
Cool. Right.
Absolutely. And our guide is this funny Frank YouTube video, True Facts. Ant mutualism.
He's perfect for this. Makes science so entertaining.
I know. Okay, leafcutter ants.
Oh, yeah. Those are amazing.
The way they carry those huge leaves, like Frank compares them to human body parts, hilarious.
Yeah, really shows you just how strong they are.
But it's not even for eating, right?
Nope. It's for their fungus gardens underground. Real farmers.
That's right, they're little fungus chambers. Frank calls it playing leafy, who's an expletive.
He's got a way with words, that's for sure. But it's a good analogy. The way they prepare the leaves is wild.
Cutting, puncturing, even using, well, fecal liquids? It's kind of gross.
It is, but hey, it works. 50 million years they've been doing this, evolving together.
And think about it, 50 million years ago, our ancestors were, well...
Yeah, throwing poop and laughing, as Frank puts it.
Twice, even. He really emphasized that point.
I think he was trying to highlight how sophisticated this ant fungus thing really is. You know, the fungus can't even make spores anymore. Totally depends on the ants.
It's like the ultimate partnership.
Right. Makes you wonder, how did this even happen?
So specialized, right? What would even make that happen over millions of years?
Well, one theory is maybe it helped them both survive when food was scarce.
The ants bring the leaves, the fungus provides the food, perfect balance.
A miniature ecosystem, basically.
Okay, so we've got ant farmers, but then there's also...
Ant cows.
That's right, ants and aphids.
Though, as Frank points out, neither cows nor aphids are too happy about that nickname.
I bet. But it's kind of true, though, right? The ants protect them, care for their eggs, even move them to butter spots.
Like little shepherds.
And in return, honeydew.
Nature's candy.
You know, he talks about the ants milking them, stroking their rears.
Yeah, a bit of a strange image.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating, this exchange of resources. Protection for food, perfect system.
And it doesn't stop there. The ants can actually store the honeydew in a separate stomach.
Really?
Yeah, and then they share it with other ants. It's called trophallaxis.
Mouth-to-mouth feeding, huh? Efficient.
Their own little food network. So ant farmers, ant ranchers, is that it?
Actually, there's even stranger stuff. Did you know some ants partner up with parasitic plants?
Parasitic plants? Those don't sound very friendly.
You'd think so, right? But it gets really wild. There's caterpillars involved, too.
Caterpillars, too. Okay, this is getting weird.
It is, right. But that's what's so cool about ant mutualism. You never know what you're going to find.
So how do parasitic plants even fit into this whole ant thing?
Well, picture this. You've got this plant living inside a tree, being all sneaky.
A parasitic plant, right.
Yeah, and it makes these knobs on the bark that caterpillars love to eat.
Ah, so it's like providing food, but then the ants come in to protect the caterpillars.
You got it. Just like with the aphids, it's all about protection in exchange for something valuable.
Okay, but what's the valuable thing here? More honeydew.
Not quite. This is where it gets even weirder. The ants, they kind of like play patty cake on the caterpillars' tummies.
What? Patty cake? On their tummies? Why?
To make them secrete stuff. It's true.
That is so strange. I mean, what is that secretion even?
Well, that's the thing. Scientists aren't totally sure yet.
Really?
Yeah, it's a bit of a mystery. Frank even jokes about it, being insecure about his own secretions. It's pretty funny.
I bet. But seriously, what's the point of it all?
That's the big question, right? Is it really good for both of them, the ants and the caterpillars? Or is something else going on?
It makes you think, maybe we don't know as much about mutualism as we thought.
Exactly. There's always more to learn.
Yeah.
This is why studying these things is so important. We got to figure out all the little details.
So we can understand what's really going on, the give and take.
Right. It makes you wonder, what other weird partnerships are out there just waiting to be discovered?
With ants, probably a lot. I mean, they've been around forever.
Over 100 million years. Plenty of time to make some strange friends.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. Like, we always hear about survival of the fittest, but this is totally different.
Yeah, this is all about cooperation, working together. It shows how important that is, just as important as competition.
It's like finding that perfect balance where everybody wins.
Exactly. And it's not just about the individual species either. It's about the whole ecosystem.
Mm.
Frank ends his video with this question that's really stuck with me.
Oh, yeah. What is it?
He says, perhaps life is really just about finding a taker for what you're giving.
Wow. That's deep.
It is, right? Makes you think about all the connections we have, how we help each other.
Not just ants, but us too. Like, we rely on each other all the time.
Absolutely. For
Sure.
support, for knowledge, all sorts of things. Just like in the ant world, those relationships can look really different.
Sometimes obvious, like with bees and flowers.
Right. But other times, it's way more complicated, like in a whole forest. So what do you think we can learn from these little guys about working together? Well, I think ants show us that even the smallest creatures can have a big impact. Like, take those leafcutter ants.
They're not just farming, they're helping the whole forest.
Exactly. Nutrient cycling, soil aeration, all that stuff. Their actions have consequences, good ones. It's all connected.
The ants, the forest, everything.
Right. And that's an important lesson. It's not just about one species winning. It's about keeping the whole system healthy.
So even small acts of cooperation can make a difference, even if we don't see it right away.
Exactly. We can't control everything, but we can choose to build good relationships to help each other out.
Just like the ants.
And who knows, maybe that's how we create a better world for everyone. So that's part 2 of our deep dive into ant mutualism. What are your biggest takeaways so far?
I'm still amazed by how much these tiny creatures can achieve by working together. It's inspiring.
It really is. And don't forget those ripple effects, how one partnership can impact the whole ecosystem.
I keep thinking about that parasitic plant example, the one with the caterpillars and the patty cake ants. It's just so strange.
It is, isn't it? But there's a logic to it, even if it seems bizarre.
I guess so, but what's in it for each of them? The plant, the caterpillars, the ants. It's a whole triangle.
Well, think of it like this. The plant, even though it's parasitic, it's creating food with those knobs, right?
Yeah, the caterpillars eat them.
Exactly. And by feeding the caterpillars, it's indirectly helping the ants too.
Because the ants get to protect the caterpillars and get that weird secretion.
It's like a chain reaction. Everybody gets something out of it.
Okay, that makes sense for the plant. But the caterpillars,
Yeah.
they're getting eaten. And then patty cake.
I know, it's weird. But they must be getting something out of it too. Maybe it helps them make more of that secretion.
Or maybe it's like a digestion thing. Who knows?
That's the thing with science. Always more questions. But we know this behavior evolved for a reason, so it's got to be good for both of them.
So benefit for the plant, benefit for the caterpillars,
Yeah.
and the ants are obviously after that secretion. But why? What's so special about it?
Well, that's still a mystery, believe it or not. Could be nutrients, maybe some kind of medicine that protects them from getting sick.
A secret ingredient, basically.
Yeah.
And we're still figuring it out.
Exactly. Shows you how much we still don't know, even about things we think we understand.
So it's not just about the cool partnerships, it's about all the unknowns, all the stuff left to discover.
Absolutely. That's what makes it so exciting, right? Every answer leads to more questions.
Okay, so as we wrap this up, what are the big takeaways? The stuff we should all remember about ant mutualism?
Well, first off, I hope everyone realizes how crucial cooperation is. It's not all about competition. Working together can achieve amazing things.
Like those ants, changing their whole environment just by teaming up.
Exactly. And it's not just them, it's everything. Plants, animals, us,
Hmm.
we're all connected. What one species does affects everything else.
It's like a giant web, everything's linked.
And those links, those relationships, they can look all sorts of ways. Some strange, some beautiful, but always about mutual benefit.
Everybody wins, that's the key.
And remember, even tiny creatures like ants can teach us huge lessons about working together, about diversity, about how connected life really is.
So yeah, next time you see an ant, don't just squash it. Think about everything it represents.
That whole hidden world, all that cooperation going on right under our noses, maybe we can learn a thing or two from them.
About building a better world, one partnership at a time. That's it for this deep dive, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And remember, keep exploring.
There's a whole universe of wonder out there just waiting to be discovered.